Hi everyone, welcome back to Comic Book Corner. I'm Dan Delatorre. Thanks for joining us this evening. A couple things on the agenda today, two subjects. One is sort of a house cleaning. I don't like to leave loose ends. I had told all of you that I had a couple comics that I said I have in my collection. The All In Special number one. I told you I had a second one. And I finally found it. My collection is such a mess. It took a while to find all this stuff. I'm terrible at organization. Just ask my wife. It's just awful. But I did find it. So that is here. And I rarely spec on these things here. These are still moving up. The value of these is still moving up. No question about it. And I did find. I also promised this. I said that I had them. Had one rather. Absolute Wonder Woman. So another book I have, but also haven't read. And I had a discussion with a friend of mine about this particular book here, The Absolute Batman 1. He says that this book is a flash in a pan. And I respectfully disagreed because this is 2 years old. And it's still hot as anything. It's moved up quite a bit. And as I've told you, as a collector with experience, I've never seen anything like this. This is a mania that I've never seen. Yes, it's a high print run. There's a bunch of these things out there, but people still want them. And it is still moving. And the comics that surround this, like the ones I just showed you, are still very, very hot. One, though, that I said that well, no, pardon me. A subject came out about another one that I had said so a couple years ago when I was on another show. It was the Comic Book Canon show. Because I'd come back from San Diego Comic-Con and I told them, what I told you in previous videos, that DC was onto something. So, when this got started, it introduced a new concept, a new idea. And it's something I thought had legs. And again, I trust my instincts over 50 years of collecting comics. Well, this is something I brought up on that show. This is almost 2 years ago. And it's this one right here. It took me a while to find it because, again, my lack of organization, but I did find it here. And it's DC Connect issue number 51 right here. This is a hot issue all of a sudden. And I said so because when I got this was a free issue that my LCS that they had. I just simply picked it up. Again, just dumb luck on my part. Well, I take it back. Let me back up here. That's not fair because, again, I did have my instincts telling me that this absolute series was going to take off, and it did. The argument with this particular one here is it apparently precedes this by about a month. So the argument can be made that this is actually the first appearance of the Absolute series. Now, this is a free magazine that they give out. This is I've looked on eBay. They're selling these for about $50. Would I buy one? Absolutely not. No, like me, if you have one, great. I wouldn't spend $50 on it. It could move up. I don't know. And again, I don't give investment advice. I just give you knowledge of what I've known. Would I buy this one? Maybe. Would I buy the Absolute Batman 1 again? I don't know. I don't like giving that kind of advice. My friend may have a point that this may dip down at some point. I think because DC is moving forward with this because they know it's a hot issue. It's a hot topic, and they're starting an animated series. So this is like I said, this has legs here. Would I spend up to $800 for a raw copy or whatever they're asking for? That's up to you. That's up to you. Again, I spent cover price for this, so again, just foresight, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time with the San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago. And again, I went to my LCS afterwards, and I forgot about this. But I made mention on the Comic Book Canon show that there is some controversy, and now finally, 2 years later, it's starting to reveal itself that it is a valuable comic. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out. Speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, today is the last day. I didn't go. I'd like to go again at some point, but it depends on a number of things. But this is the last day. Today is, what is it today? July 26th that I'm filming this. A number of things that came out of it is I'm certain most of you have followed or following the news out of it. There was finally the MCU returned it to Hall H. That's their big hall if you've never been there. They make their announcements. There was nothing last year I think the MCU didn't bother to show up, but they obviously were there 2 years ago when Robert Downey Jr. was there and made the big announcement that he's Doctor Doom and all the rest of it. This year, there was more stories about that, more news and so forth, so that's all Avengers movies related. But one thing that I took away from that was the announcement that the MCU is finally bringing the Ghost Rider to the big screen. Ghost Rider is a character that I thought for the longest time was undervalued in a big way. And I've got a few books to show you. I looked at eBay this morning and asked, or took a look to see what Marvel Spotlight is going for. I've got this one here. It's a nice 3.0 EGS. I got this for $300, like 5 or 6 years ago. It was a great deal, great deal. Now this same one is about 1,000 or 1,200, somewhere around there. But I also noticed that a number of the Spotlight 5 comics have been posted new. In other words, what's going on is probably the people that were selling this took it down after the announcement and then reposted it, knowing that the value is going to go up. I mention this because I don't give you any spec advice or investment advice. I give you advice if you want the comic, if you can obtain it. There are many comics they're out of my price range. I only have so much funds in my comic piggy bank. This was one of them. Now I can't afford this anymore. If you want to get one, I'd get it sooner than later because the announcement just came on this week, and I think yesterday. And so that's going to move forward. There's great interest in this particular character. The one I probably won't be able to get is Ghost Rider 1, which came out very shortly after this one here. But if you want to get it, I'd get it now because I think that's going to keep moving. There is a great interest in the original Johnny Blaze. Now, I don't know if they're going to use the Johnny Blaze character. I didn't get to the details regarding, what manifestation of Ghost Rider they're going to use. So that remains to be seen. So I want to show just a few comics you should consider as that character moves forward. I mentioned, are they going to use the Johnny Blaze character or the Danny Ketch character? I got this really cheap not that long ago. I think last year at my LCS I had $30, I think. Great story, by the way. Great story. I like that they brought back the Ghost Rider. They actually killed him off, no pun intended, for the Johnny Blaze. And they said at the time, there will be no more Ghost Rider. And this is many, many years ago. I don't have the issue where it says that. But then they of course, brought him back with a new incarnation. So this may be affordable if you want to get it, and especially if that's the Ghost Rider that they bring forward with the MCU. A couple ones that just to show you that I've always loved the covers. When Ghost Rider was introduced in the early 70s, he was a different character in the sense where he was more of a superhero, had a heart, that kind of thing, and worked with superheroes like this one here, Marvel 2-in-1 number 8. Great cover, great story. A different side to the Ghost Rider of today, who's far more bestial, far more connected to hell and all the rest of it, as you would think. And another one, God, I just love this cover. I really do. So I would get your hands on those. Oh, and by the way, there's one later on to prove my point. The Thing teams up with the Ghost Rider in issue like 108 or something, and he's far different. Very different. I guess as the character grew and became more associated with hell and Satan, all the rest of it, as one would expect, that would change. But he was more human, I guess, for lack of a better word, in these issues. And the other one I always loved, this cover here, Marvel Spotlight number 15. First appearance of the Orb. Again, he's more helpful in this issue, trying to save Spider-Man, that kind of thing. But great issue. Early, late Silver, early Bronze Age cover and comic, by the way. Good story. Worth getting your hands on it. But both these comics might start to move depending on how they sell this character moving forward. So keep a sharp eye on this if you want these. And I'm just lucky enough to have gotten them. In fact, I'll show off this one here. I still can. I got this one last year Very nice man had it. And he said he's never pressed it or cleaned it. So this could be a much higher grade. Now, I don't have the patience or the desire to deal with CGC to get these things cleaned and pressed. I'll just keep it as it is. Maybe if I sell it, somebody else can do that. And it's a 9.0 white pages of this. So again, I love this comic so much I wanted to get a graded copy of this and found this for a pretty reasonable price. A couple $100, I think, is what I paid for that, which I think is worth it. Let's just end with a note regarding the market. It's a really strange market, and comic buyers have their own flavor. You probably have your own flavor, your favorite comics, your favorite characters, and you buy accordingly. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. You can buy whatever you want, whether it's Marvel or DC. And to the gentleman who reached out to me and says, he didn't really care for my approach to things. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that. He's a big DC guy. And I said, that's totally fine. If it makes you happy, go for it. There's no right or wrong answer to any of this stuff here. But what's curious to me is the market itself. Why certain comics go up and certain don't. And again, speaking of the MCU and the upcoming Avengers movie, this character here, first appearance of the Falcon, Captain America 117, this really hasn't moved. I thought it would. I thought when Anthony Mackie was named the new Captain America, this would just jump up in price, and it really hasn't. I don't have an answer as to why not. Again, this is a main character, and that character has grown substantially in the comics, and now with the MCU. We have a fine actor with Anthony Mackie. I like him. I like him a lot. He also said, by the way, a quick, and I forgot to bring it out, that with Captain America, Steve Rogers returning, he's not returning as Captain America, he's returning as Nomad. And Captain America, was it 180? Shoot, I should have brought it out, but I didn't. Forgive me for not doing enough show prep. That's something you might want to keep an eye on as well. Actually, I have two of those issues here. But I'm delighted to have this one. I've never owned this before. But the puzzle is why it hasn't moved. I don't get it. Maybe it will. Maybe it will as time goes on. Because I will end this video on this one here, a comic that I bought, one of my most expensive purchases, about 5 years ago. And with this character literally taking over the MCU, he took over, what is it? The TVA, the Time Variant Authority. He's now in charge of everything. I thought that character would have really accelerated, and it's really stalled. I bought this because it was either that, or I'd have to save up a lot more money for Fantastic Four 5, first appearance of Doctor Doom. Maybe I should have bought that, but I bought this for a couple reasons. I love this character, and I couldn't pass up the deal. It's a 4.0 white pages. It's a CBCS, first appearance of Loki, and I paid about $1,400 or $1,500 for this one. Again, it was a pricey book. Got it out of Canada. And it didn't move. The price was stuck. It actually took a dip after a while. And I thought, wow, did I waste my money and all that? But no, I just recently looked on eBay again. I did some research today. This is more than doubled in value because it's a 4.0 white pages, really pretty book, front and back and so forth. Third appearance of Thor. But I'm just delighted to have it in my collection. And I mentioned all this with the Marvel Spotlight and all the other books here. Again, I don't give investment advice. If you want a comic in your collection, the reality is, depending on your financial status, you may not be able to afford it. I will never again have an Amazing Fantasy 15 or Fantastic Four 1 or all the Grails. They're out of my price range. I can't even get my hands on a Journey into Mystery 83. That's today, for even a decent low grade, it's like $6,000 or more. And I don't have that. I did have the wherewithal to get this. And again, if I sold it, I'll never get it again. I can't afford them. I'm like all of you, on a budget with a certain tier. But if you want to get these, get them sooner than later, because there will be a time where you won't be able to afford them anymore. I'm in that category. Most of us are in that category. So I'm just giving you advice regarding obtaining comics, not buying and selling. I'm not an investor, so you have to do your own research and so forth. And also the phrase "geek responsibly," I like that. As a younger man, I bought way too many comics. I overbought, then I had to sell them because I got into financial trouble, got laid off from my job, for example, and then you got to sell your comics at a ridiculous discount. And I wish I'd had that advice when I was younger. Today, I buy only what I can afford. And if I don't have any money, I don't buy anything. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be ashamed if you don't have any money. So what? If you have comics, read them, window shop, whatever. That's what I do. And when I didn't have any money, it was months at a time or even years at a time. I was realistic with what I could obtain and what I couldn't obtain. And that way, if you use that mindset, which has worked well for me for the last 12 years, comics like this stay in my collection. I don't have to worry about selling them. Anyway, everyone, that's what I've got for today. Thanks for joining. Leave a comment and give me your thoughts on comics you've seen, what you took out of the San Diego Comic-Con, the news this year. They're probably not going to be in San Diego next year because, again, they're so busy with the Avengers movies, and Spider-Man is next week. I'm definitely going to see that. I'll give a review next time regarding that. That looks like a dynamite episode. And anything else you want to talk about. Everyone, thanks for joining. I'm Dan I'm Dan Delatorre. Yes, I do know who I am. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again next time.